Thanks very much for coming along today. So we're going to talk about having an effective website for your business. So whether that's whether you're starting out with a new website or whether you've got a current website, this will be useful for kind of going through your website from a sort of marketing perspective. So is it fit for purpose, really? So my name's Deborah Goodall. I am a marketing consultant. I've been working in marketing for 25 years. I'm a fellow of the Chartered Institute of Marketing, and basically I'm a marketing strategist. So I work with businesses to help them develop their marketing strategy. And as part of that, you know, it might be that I suggest that they do things to their website, or that they restructure their business a bit, or, you know, they look at their pricing, or, you know, product portfolio or whatever. And so you're sort of thinking, right, okay, well, this is about websites. So I'm not a web developer or web designer. And all of this is from a marketing point of view. So looking at how to get the most out of your website, in terms of what it does for your business. So when I started working in marketing in 1996 or whenever that was, so there was no internet. The business I was working for didn't have a website. It was a mail order company. We used to post out loads and loads of catalogues, and actually I stayed with that business for some time, and actually took them online, and we had an e-commerce website in, I think it must have been 2000 that we did that. So I've seen it sort of pre-internet and sort of, you know, where we are now. I also used to work for the Yorkshire Agricultural Society. I was head of marketing there for a number of years. And that was about 15 or so years ago. And with that, I introduced the sale of tickets online. So they had a website, but you couldn't pre-book your ticket for the show. So they never knew how many people were turning up. It was always, I mean, obviously, an event like that, people are going to turn up, but, you know, it's always good to have some money in the bank before the event goes live. So introduced online ticket sales for the Great Yorkshire Show. So we're quite a small little group, which is quite good. So feel free to ask questions and interact on this. We'll just do quick intros, if that's okay. I'll start with Russell, please.
Hi there, Russell Clark. I've got holiday cottages on the fell side near Appleby. We've got 7 self-catering cottages at present.
Okay. Gwen. Oh, you're on mute, lovely.
Sorry about that.
That's all right.
I'm Gwen Bainbridge. My business is Gwen Bainbridge Ceramics, and it's based at Broome Hall. So I make ceramics, and I also run courses.
Okay, and Colin?
I'm Colin Shelbourne. I run EJ Jordan Limited. We make hi-fi loudspeakers and sell all around the world.
Oh. That's a bit different. And Anita?
Yeah, hello, good morning. Aneta Gipka. I'm owner of the business Rough Engineering, based in Workington.
Okay.
I think that's all.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, brilliant. That's it, isn't it? I haven't got anybody else lurking anywhere. No, that's fine. Okay, so by the end of this, we're going to sort of have gone through basically, is your website up to date, and does it accurately represent your business? And this always sparks a little bit of debate and thought when I run this webinar. Planning your website for your business. So is it really easy for visitors to understand your website and navigate it? And then we'll also just touch on writing web copy that works. So use of good images, keywords, and that's going to be a little bit of a canter through. There's quite a bit of info on the slides. So it's towards the end of the presentation. So if we are tight on time, you'll get the info on the slides, and I'll just kind of like, you know, canter through them. Okay, so Really, your website's such an important part of your business, because it's where you have to send everybody. So if you didn't have a website, and some people don't have a full website, they might just have a digital presence, say like a Facebook page, but if you didn't have that digital address to use, then where would you send people these days? So it's really difficult to think about, well, actually, if you're running a social media campaign, you know, and you didn't have a website, where would you send them to find that information out? If you were doing some advertising, you know, you're going to send them through to a website. If you were sending out emails to your list, you know, it might be that people potentially could pick up the phone to find out a little bit more, but really they're going to go through to your website. So the website these days is sort of at the heart of every campaign. And so it's so important that your website reflects your business, because everything that you do marketing wise will be sending people to that website as almost the first part of the customer journey that you have got 100% control of. So we'll start off just thinking about, why have you got a website? What's the purpose of your website? Anybody?
It's a selling tool.
Selling tool, okay. Anyone else got anything different?
I was using mine to give people examples of what I do. It's currently not a selling one, and I'm in the process of changing it. So eventually it'll be for selling as well. Yeah, like you said.
Okay, so yours is about validating your offering, really, then?
Yeah.
Or it was, and now it's going to shift to be a bit e-commerce, yeah? Anyone got any other reasons why they've got a website?
I mean, I would say it's the same selling product, and then tell people what the business is about, what they're doing.
Yeah, so it's about validating your offer.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. Okay, so these are the answers that I kind of came up with in my head. So generally the primary one is sales, but also it's about validating your offering, which Gwen and Anita have said. And quite often, if you're in a business-to-business environment, or you're in the early days of your website, then it's about validating your offering. So my website, for example, validates my offering. You know, it talks about my marketing consultancy experience, and really it's a place that I can send people, you know, if I've met them, and they can look at my website and go, oh right, yeah, she does this, I understand it now, whatever. It might be that your website's about generating inquiries, which I suspect that Anita and Gwen's is also about, you know, that you actually want inquiries and leads to come into the business. It could be, some websites are still quite static, and it might be that it's an online brochure and then people, you know, have to phone to make an order. There are still some websites around that are a bit like that. And then the two other bits are about education. So it might be that you're educating people, and it might be that you educate people and you are an e-commerce website. And it's also about a bit about entertaining your audience. So some websites, you know, have the purpose of entertainment. Typically they're trying to sell you something off the back of it these days. You know, everything's got to monetize itself somehow, you know, or there's a in-website purchase that you need to make to access some more information. So those are kind of like the key reasons why people have websites. So if we just have a quick look at a couple of examples and think about, what is the purpose of these websites? So what do you think the purpose of this website is?
Sell skipping ropes.
Sell skipping ropes. So it's really obvious. I mean, to me, I'd have that a little bit bigger, but it is in bright pink. It's right in the middle of the page, and it says shop, you know, and it's dope ropes, board the jump wave. You know, they don't call it skipping anymore, do they? They call it like jump ropes or whatever. I have no idea. It's all got a bit trendy, but yeah, so basically it's really obvious from the start what they want you to do. So this is their homepage, and they're saying, buy something from us. Yeah. And this one.
Lego.
Lego, but what are they wanting? What's the purpose of the site? This is their homepage.
Sleepover accommodation Lego themed.
Yeah, book now, check in, check out, book now up here. It's all about selling that ultimate Lego sleepover. Yeah. So instantly you know that like there's some sale on, there's a countdown, so there's a bit of pressure there to make that booking. Book now, check in, check out, search. So it's trying to sell you something right from the homepage. It's, as soon as you land on that website, you know what people want you to do. Now, unfortunately, I took out my business to business example, but I will put it in the slides so that, because I've got a really good homepage screen grab of an engineering company that does sheet metal works, and it's really obvious what they want you to do. So I'll put that in the slide deck. So with these websites, what you're doing is you're landing, and straight away you know what you're supposed to be doing. Yeah. So think about your websites for a minute and why your website exists. So we've said that it's sales, or it's validating your offering for the 4 of you that are on the call. Is your website clear what you want people to do when you land on that homepage? And can you come up with an objective that you can use to measure the effectiveness of your website? So bearing in mind that, 3 of you said sales, I'm guessing that the effectiveness of your website is going to be about how many people come to the website and how many convert on the website. Would that be fair?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mine also would be, because I'm trying to attract galleries and collectors, so I wouldn't want mine to look too shop-like.
Okay.
So, because like some of my peers, their work, they've just got stunning images. So it's all about the quality of the photography, and then to show the quality of the product.
Yeah.
And because it's ceramics as well, I'm not sure how easy selling ceramics is. And as I've never had a website that sells on it, this is something that I'm going to be trying.
Yeah. Okay. So that's good that you're taking that step to try that. So how will you measure whether that has been a successful step for your business to dip your toe into online sales? If you got in your head, oh, well, it's costing me X to make it e-commerce, I'd like to get that money back by the end of the year. If you got like,
You've just frozen then. What did you say?
I was saying, have you got a measure in your head of how you're going to validate whether dipping your toe in the water of e-commerce is successful for your business? So if you're spending, I don't know, £2,000 making your website sales orientated, are you thinking, right, well, by the end of the year, I'll have covered that £2,000 in sales?
I am now.
Yeah.
Said it.
Good results. So it's about knowing what your measure for success is. And within the engineering firm, it might be about the number of leads that come in, but it might be about the quality of those leads that come through the website. So it's not just about driving traffic, it's about driving traffic that converts. Yeah.
Can I ask you something? Can I say something? Maybe not.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, we've created new website last year about, and it went live about October, I think. And then saying that about because we're more or less we're the same. We try to attract because as an engineering company, attract customers with pictures, quality, what we can do, how can we help. Now, because we talk about the measure of the effectiveness of the website, now it's just I'm thinking we never looked that way yet, and how there is any way out. Well, I don't think so, but I'm just asking, we've got a new customers, but we don't know if this is coming through the website or this is coming from the customer by customer to customer.
Oh, okay.
Well, more or less we know when we've got a new customer, it comes because of the other customer recommended. We know that usually.
Mm.
But we do not ask every single one, why did you find out about us? Why did you come to us? Is that the case how you measure?
Yeah. So you know, with an engineering company, you will be having a dialogue with your clients, you know, to actually understand what their requirements are. So it's a perfect opportunity to say, you know, how did you find out about us? You know, or if you've got a contact form on your website, are people completing that contact form to make that initial inquiry? You know, so that might even be those that have come as a recommendation from somewhere else. They might have gone to your website to validate, and then make contact.
Yeah, you're right. I think we do have the contact form to complete, but we never had anything coming from the website. So it's usually CVs, but it's probably we're doing something wrong or we're not doing the right thing.
So I think did you have Google Analytics on your website? We had this conversation previously.
Yeah, we did have this conversation. Yeah, last week. I think we haven't done it yet. No, we haven't.
Yeah. So that
it's on our list. I know it's everything in one.
Yeah. So that would be a key measure, a key tool to be able to measure the amount of traffic that's going to your website, and then you can see which pages they're looking at as well. Yeah.
Is that true for any business, not just a larger business?
Yeah, absolutely. So Google Analytics is a free tool that you can, if you put Google Analytics into Google, it gives you goes through a little process. You can get some code, you put it in the back end of your website, and it allows you to track the activity on your website. So how many people, which pages, where they've come from, whether they're using mobiles, whether they're using Apples or Samsungs or whatever. Like, it's mind blowing. You'll just have too much info, really. But anyway, yeah. Okay, we're going to whiz on because we're nearly halfway through and we're only on slide 9. So the key thing with your website, really, and I bleat on about this in all of my webinars, it's for your customers. It's not for you. So think about, who is your website aimed at? What do you know about your audience that's going to influence the website design and content? And what are their expectations when they come to your website? So it's a website is not a showcase for you. It must meet the needs of the audience. And this is why I think websites need to be driven by the marketing part of your business, whether you're a marketeer, but you know, that bit of your sort of, you know, your business, if you're a solopreneur, that bit of your head, it must meet the needs of your audience. It's not about just showcasing what you've got. Does that make sense? Yeah. So when you're kind of doing your plans for your website and you're thinking about meeting the needs of the audience, think about whether your website communicates your brand and your brand's values. So it needs to be a seamless integration with the rest of your marketing activity, because as we'd said, sort of the website's kind of the heart of the marketing campaign. That's where you're going to send people. But if there's a disconnect in the way that something is presented in an advert or a piece of editorial or a social media post, and then they come to your website and they either think, oh, it's all been written in a different tone of voice, or oh, it's laid out completely differently to how the advert was. There's a disconnect, and are they then going to go, oh, it must be the wrong website, actually that's not what I was after, and leave your website? So think about creating a seamless journey in terms of communicating your brand and brand values. So your brand is about that representation of your business. It's about what people feel or visualize when they hear your business name. It's not just about your logo. It's much deeper than that. Don't allow your web developer or designer to develop your brand. That's not what they're there for. You, and with your customers in mind, develop your brand. because your brand is everything you say and everything you do in your business. Could do a whole webinar on brand, but we don't. So, but it is really important. Yeah. Go on.
Sorry to interrupt. So, say I've got a designer who's going to be doing mine. So to sort of make sure that's all seamless, it's all coming from me. The material is from me. The images are from me. Even how I have it laid out all comes from me, with then his professional suggestions.
Yes. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. Because you want, if you've got, say you've got leaflets that promote your ceramics business, you want the website to look like those leaflets. There needs to be some connection with the colours that are used, the layout of it, the style of photography, all of that needs to influence what that website's going to look like. Because if someone picks up your leaflet in wherever, I don't know, and then they go to your website and it's completely different, you're like, oh right, okay, oh, that's not what I thought I was going to get, I'll go somewhere else. Because you're projecting that brand all the time.
Now, at the moment, my leaflet stuff comes from a shared broom haul one. So I have one little section of that.
Right, okay.
All I can really do is make sure that my part of that is like my website.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what's useful to do to send to your web designer is to send them, like a brand book, which is, quite often that you develop them in larger organizations, and it'll have lots of rules in about tone of voice and how big your logo is and space between your logo and white space and all this sort of stuff. So I've worked in organizations before. I've developed brand books, spent a lot of time on them, and people just put them in a drawer. So my top tip to you, Russell's laughing, my top tip to you is write a little list of what your rules are, little crib sheet, pin it up on the wall. Have that in mind when you're doing your social media posts, or when you're writing blogs, or when you're talking to a designer or anybody else that's doing anything within your organization. Have a little crib sheet. It's much more likely to be used than a massive whopping brand book which shove in a drawer and nobody looks at. So just think about what those rules might be about what you're projecting. Yeah, right. I'm going to have to move on swiftly. So when people come to your website, do they immediately understand your proposition? So when they land on your site, do they know what your business does and what you want them to do? And all the time focus on what the customer wants, not what you think you should be telling them. Yeah. So again, got a couple of examples. So we've got holiday cottages. So they have got their COVID-19 statement. So that's important for customer confidence. When people land on this website, you instantly understand what their offer is, not promotional offer, but what their proposition is. They're offering charming self-catering accommodation in the Lake District. Well, in the lakes. You can view the cottages. There's a nice picture of what the accommodation looks like. And there's this call to action up here, book now. Now, to me, I'd have that book now a little bit stronger, but it is there on the homepage. And then the next example, Disney. You land on their homepage, you instantly understand that it's about booking something or buying a ticket. But they also, very cleverly, there's no magic without you. So they're putting their customer into their value proposition. The customer then therefore creates the magic in this relationship, yeah? But it's really obvious when they land on that page what the value proposition is. It's totally flexible when you book your package with us, whatever that might mean, and you can book or buy a ticket. Done. So with your websites in mind, when people land on your homepage, is it really obvious what your business offers and what you want people to do? Now, it might be as simple as, precision engineering, contact us, a big contact us button. or it could be more detailed, you know. But think about what the speciality is of your business, what makes your business different, where your magic comes from, really. Does that make sense? Got some people are thinking. I quite like that.
It's everybody. Yeah, it does make sense, and everybody's the same. I've heard this from a few people. Really, what's to think about what's to make you different. And when you look on the other website, on other custom, you think everybody's trying to stand out, obviously. So it's quite difficult to find something really stand out from others. I talk about that industry we are on, engineering industry. So it is quite challenging question.
It is. And
everybody say quality. More or less it's quality, what is the most important in engineering, and delivery time, and the basic things, and then everybody say the same, and I find out it's quite challenging because I don't know what else. I just thought we try to think as a team as well, and we usually come back to the same where we are.
So I'm working with an engineering firm at the moment who work in the wastewater industry, and we've spent quite a lot of time on how are they different from their competitors, because effectively, like you say,
yeah,
all basically do the same thing. And the thing that we came up with them was that they always have a technical consultant working alongside a sales consultant. So at no point in time are they just selling something. They're always getting some technical input, technical input on the drawings, technical input on the specification. Can we do it better? Can we do it differently? And so we're positioning them as being more intelligent engineering, to make that standout difference. But it's kind of like with them, it's been a case of going through almost every point of contact with the customer and saying, right, okay, what happens here? What happens here? What happens here? Is this better or different than XYZ company? And it's not a 10-minute job, but it does need doing to position you effectively. Yeah. Okay, so moving on with this. Again, with the layout of your website, focus heavily on the user experience. It's always about the customer. So don't overload them with information right from the off. And your homepage really should, if you've got more than one offering, Gwen was saying that she was trying to appeal to galleries and other venues where she might display her work, but also maybe sell, then it might be that you need to segment people on your homepage early. So it might be that people come to your homepage, Gwen, and it's like, beautiful picture, buy your pottery, or are you a gallery looking for exhibits or whatever, actually segment them early on in that journey. So
I've seen some artists who do it by projects.
Yeah.
The one thing I'm considering is, because I do music as well, so I teach and I'm selling my work, and I also do community art stuff. So I'm wondering whether to do it more as like different projects on my website, but maybe having the main focus on the image would be maybe a piece of my work, and then one or two other images that depict those other things I do. Would that be too much on a homepage?
No. So I've got examples of homepages that are quite that have got lots of different things going on. But the key thing is to kind of think about, when people come to your website, they need to be able to find what it is that they have come for almost instantly. So they don't want to be confused. They don't want to have to think about where you want them to go.
Yeah.
So if they're there to buy a piece of ceramics, then they need to have that option on the homepage. If they're there to book your music lessons, then they need to be able to find that from the homepage. And a classic example of how this has been done really badly. I was so frustrated last night. It was unbelievable. Trying to get a doctor's appointment, and the recorded message was, if you go to our website, you can do an online 24/7 consultation. Someone will phone you back. You're like, 54th in the queue or whatever. I'm like, right, fine, I'll do that. Go to the website, and then on the homepage there's all this stuff about you need to register, so you get sent off to a different website, start registering all your details, and then it's like, oh no, actually you need to speak to the receptionist of your current practice to be able to do this registration process. I was like, what the hell is going on? Back to the homepage, scroll down the homepage, right at the very bottom, book an online consultation. I was so annoyed. I'm like, if you are promoting that on your on hold message, your customers want that in their face when they go to your website. So really think about what that journey is as people come to your website. Where do you want to send them? And if you're smoothing out a process, like the doctors are trying to do, it needs to hit people in the face what their steps should be when they get on your website. So just a couple of examples. So this holiday park segments their audience by location. Now there's a slight fail on this because it doesn't actually say where these different parks are. So they should have put Allerton Park, which is, I guess it's near Harrogate, Cawood Park south of York, and then Weir Park, not quite sure, but they are trying to segment from a homepage because they're directing people to different parks, but what they've not done is actually say where those parks are located. So that whilst they're sort of part way there, sort of 70% of the way there, of segmenting from the homepage, they've not done it fully. The really brilliant examples of these, always district councils and county councils. They instantly segment you from the homepage. Doesn't necessarily look attractive, but if you land on the homepage of a council, you're nearly always presented with, planning and building, bins and councils, and other stuff that's going on that people want. And I have no doubt that this is the most popular thing that people look at, and this will be the second most popular thing that people look at on a council website. So instantly you land and you can find where you want to be. Doesn't look attractive, but is super functional. So they're segmenting right from the off. You get on that website and you know where you want to be. Yeah. They're always remarkably good at it, every single time, without fail. Never seen a council website that doesn't segment you as soon as you go in. So they've got an awful lot of information on there, and they're serving a lot of different audiences in terms of the needs of the people that are coming to that website. Or any person that goes on there will be able to find the bit that they're looking for. Yeah.
That dust is nice and big as well, in case you really do get confused.
Yes. Yes, up here. What do you want to do? Search, contact us, coronavirus, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Easy, super easy to navigate.
Just very dull.
Just very dull. Yes. I'm guessing, like from a sort of aesthetic point of view, be like, well, it'd be quite nice to have a picture of South Lakeland in the background and all this sort of stuff. But I bet that works really fast. Because there's no fancy imagery. It'll work really well on a mobile, and at the end of the day, it's a council. It's functional, isn't it?
Yeah.
You just want it to work.
Very readable.
Sorry.
It's also very readable, which a lot of websites make the mistake of putting weird colours on weird backgrounds, and you end up struggling to read the text. Yeah.
It is. No, you're right. Yeah, it'll conform to what is it, WW3 accessibility or whatever. Yeah.
Not
got a background. Go on, Russell.
Back on a new website recently, and when you read it on your mobile, they'd done the text in like a light grey. I could hardly read the damn thing. Yeah. But whether, I can't remember whether you did anything about it or not, but that's really annoying.
Yeah. And again, part of that comes down to understanding who your target audience is. Like personally, I know that I struggle to read stuff on my mobile phone. I think it's my age. But if you're targeting a much younger demographic with much better eyesight than I've got, then having it look really cool on a mobile might be potentially more important than trying to appeal to someone that's got, you know, slightly dodgy eyesight and can't read it on their you know, smartphone. So again, it's about understanding your audience. You know, what do they want? Are they going to be accessing it from a mobile phone? Are they accessing it on a tablet? Are they sitting in front of a massive desktop? You know, where are your people actually accessing your website from?
Are there certain rules that you tend to follow regarding fonts and backgrounds and stuff like that? Is that just a really long question to answer?
Yeah, it is almost. It's about understanding, again, sort of who your target audience is, what they're going to respond to. We're going to come on to it shortly, but there's lots of things about having white space, and white space isn't always white space, but, you know, space around words, so that the words on your website can almost sort of breathe.
You might have a photograph, but your words might be within a box, say, that's a colour that tones with your image.
Yeah.
But it makes it readable, more
readable, or it might be that they, you know, it's significantly different colour so that you can read it properly. Yeah, contrast. That's the word. Yeah.
Because it's like when you notice it when you're looking at shampoo bottles and stuff like that, and they have all these groovy reflective containers with a font in just a slightly different colour, and you can't read the beggar.
Yeah, it's like it looks cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we're probably not supposed to read all of that anyway, are we? So once you've got your homepage clear in your head, think about how the pages all sort of flow through that. What do your customers want to know? What's their journey going to be through your website? What do you absolutely need to tell them? And think about sort of organising your website as though it's a filing system, so it's easy to navigate, you know. So be organised and obvious with where you want people to go together, and kind of you can sketch this out, you know, like draw a little map of like, well, I've got this page, I've got my home page, and coming off from there I'll have you know, I'll send people to my sales page or my booking page, or, you know, contact page or whatever, and that might be the first thing that I want them to do. It might not be, but I'm also going to give them case study examples of engineering projects, so they might go there, but then once they've been there, actually we might then send them through to a contact us. So how is the whole thing going to link together? And it, you know, just sketch that out. You don't have to do it like professionally on some fancy you know, digital platform. I generally just do it on a piece of paper and then scan it and send it to a website developer. But be clear in your head actually what that journey is going to be. Where do you want people to go? So that's kind of like your web hierarchy. And then think about the layout of the pages, you know, so the home page, what's that? Again, it's just like simple sketching. So your home page might be segmenting people into buy-in ceramics or booking music, or you know, whether are you a gallery looking for exhibits or whatever. And then what are those internal page layouts going to look like, you know, and what's your blog page going to look like? Think about being consistent with that layout, so your internal pages will all be on the same sort of template, and you'll have certain consistencies maybe in terms of what the header looks like or what the footer looks like on every page, because you want to get across your brand and brand values. But all the time when you're planning this out, think about what response do you want to generate from each of those pages? What are people supposed to do? You don't want to leave people hanging. You know, you need to tell people whether they're supposed to be making contact or making a purchase or booking now, because they're not, you know, you need to be in control of that journey. If you want to drive people through your website to deliver sales or inquiries, then it needs to be really obvious that that's what you want. Yeah. Got some more nods. Good. Right. So just in terms of photography and imagery, again, think about your audience and context. So with this example here from some spa, yeah, you know, it looks like clear, professional, bright, you know, well taken photography. It also looks a little bit like stock imagery. And it also looks a little bit like, well, it's a bit slick and salesy. And has that actually been taken at the spa that this is supposed to be promoting? Are these people that are receiving the treatments, are they reflective of me? You know, so it might not be the age group, it might not be the ethnic diversity. So think about who your customers are. If you're going to use imagery of customers, then think about actually, well, who are my customers? Because they will expect to see themselves or the aspirational version of themselves in those images, you know. And like with these images here, you're talking about ultimate relaxation imagery or combination therapy or whatever it is. Those pictures don't really sell the experience of it. You know, you'd expect to see some part of the spa, what makes it different. So think about what images is saying as well. Sorry, Gwen.
This looks a bit fleshy.
Yeah, it does. It's not very attractive, is it? Like,
no.
You know, I don't, yeah, it's like, well, yeah. You can use stock imagery on your website, and there's lots of stock imagery where you can access free stock imagery, places like Unsplash and Pexels and Pixabay, things like that. And there's also the paid sites like Getty Images and Shutterstock. Obviously, the best photos are the ones that are from your business, because you can then shoot them in your brand style, and they are wholly reflective of what you offer. So at the end of this, kind of go back to your website and think, actually, do my pictures accurately represent my business? You know, what images have you got on your website? Are they appealing to the audience that you want to attract to your business? Because remember, it's not about you, it's about them. And then we're coming on to the words. I don't know when we're running out of time. Okay, right, so we won't actually do this exercise, but this is like a checklist that you can go through after this webinar. Explore your own website and think about, on each page, what are the key messages that you're trying to get across? Are the key messages visible before you start scrolling down the page? And if they aren't, are you actually encouraging users to scroll? So if you land on the homepage of your website and everything fits beautifully in the screen, then will people naturally scroll to go further down to see what else is on your homepage? Or are you putting little teaser bits, you know, like a half picture across the bottom that will naturally encourage people to scroll further down? Yeah. Because what you don't want people to do, again, is go to the homepage and then be like, right, okay, well, that's the homepage, I'll just go to the menu, if all your key info is further down. So you need to tempt them to scroll. Is there bite-sized content to encourage reading? So are you tempting people to go into other pages? Some people are skim readers, some people read every word on a page. So if you are a skim reader, or your audience are skim readers, is it still really clear what that core message is? So it needs to be really obvious. And also, on every single page, where is your call to action? So define what your action is, but think about, actually, you know, can people make a purchase from that page? Can they get in touch from that page? Do they know how to get in touch with me? Where's my email address? Where's the phone number, if that's what people want? But where is it? And is it on every page?
So is it better to be on every page?
I think, it depends. It depends on your business. It depends on what your objective of your website is. At a minimum, in your header, you're going to want an email address or a contact us button or a telephone number. It depends on what your business model is. But it might be that within copy on a page, you know, you might have buy it now. So you'll have like an image of something that you've created, buy it now, or you might be talking on a page about the process that you go through to, you know, for commissioned pieces, and then you'd have a buy it now, you know, so it's really obvious all the time what you want people to do. Yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Think about the language that your users will use to find you as well. So when they are when they come to your website, the language you're using is language they would use to describe what they're looking for. So again, I did this with a different engineering company, Anita, and they were doing, it was like they were sieving aggregates. I can't even remember what it was really. And we were sat down and we were looking at this company's website, big company, and looked at the homepage, and I was like, what is it that you do? And the guys in the business were like, blah, 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 loads of jargon, all this sort of stuff. And I was like, no, what do your customers think you do? And do they even understand what these words are? And they're like, oh, no, probably not. We always have to explain to people. And I was like, it needs to be really clear from the off what you do. You know, people are going to get on that homepage, talk in their language, make it jargon free, make it easy to understand. Yeah. And then create action, which is what I was saying about the call to action points within copy. So the main reason that people don't convert to customers is lack of information. Unbelievable. So when you're thinking about creating action, write your copy in features, advantages, benefits, and then action that you're going to push them on their journey. So when I used to write copy for those mail order catalogues before we had the internet, I used to have taped to the top of my screen, so what? So you'd be writing about some hose lock pump that goes into a pond, and you'd be like, well, so what does that mean? So you can create a fountain. So what does that mean? So you can have the beautiful, relaxing sound of flowing water whilst you're sitting in your garden enjoying a margarita or whatever. Buy now. Yeah. Or it might be that you've got Russell's cottage, and it, you know, features. It might be close to the Eden Valley, but actually, if you're writing about it, it might be that you set off from the cottage into the beautiful Eden Valley with dog-friendly walks, returning to freshly baked scones and tea, relax in our sumptuous luxury beds, ready for the next day of your stay. Book now. Yeah. So it's, you know, what's the benefits? Don't just sell features and advantages. Yeah. And then create action, push them on that journey all the time, tell them what you want them to do. So just this lack of information thing. So there's short copy readers and there's long copy readers. So a short copy reader will read, you know, a paragraph or two paragraphs and then make their buying decision. So you might need to punctuate your copy with call to actions, but then there's long copy readers who will always want lots and lots and lots of information before they make a buying decision. So when you're thinking about the layout and the writing the copy for your website, think about all your key sales messages in those first two or three paragraphs, and then call to action, and then a bit more detail, and then another call to action, and a bit more detail, and another call to action. Really good website for an example on it, bizarrely, is the BBC News website. So they always do, like, you can read the first couple of paragraphs on the BBC website and get a general idea of what's happening in the news. But then if you read the full story, there's always like little cut-off points where you can think, right, okay, I've got a bit more detail on that, I understand it a bit more. Or you can read right down to the bottom and you get all the history of the situation and why it's happening and whatever. So they're going for short copy readers, overview, make a decision, go somewhere else. Medium, you know, a bit more detail. long copy readers, you know, who go right down to the bottom and they want all of the detail about everything. Chap called Drayton Bird, who's a copywriter, he's like donkey's years old, but all of his principles really still apply. He wrote Common Sense Direct Marketing, I think it is. And he talks in there about short and long copy readers, and it's really interesting stuff about how people like information to be able to make purchasing decisions. So when you come to your structuring your page content, make it easy to read. So we sort of touched on this already about sort of letting the words breathe on the page. Don't cram it full of stuff. Go against everything your English teacher ever taught you about how many lines in a paragraph. You want 1 to 4 lines in a paragraph. You want really short sentences. The summary lead, which is the first bit of the sort of like just below the headline, is sort of like an executive summary of what you're going to talk about. You know, maybe put that in bold or a different colour. Think about those skim readers, punctuate things with headings and subheadings. Images should have captions so that people can understand what's going on. It might be that for the long readers, it might be that you link to further content, you know, so for the engineering stuff, it might be that you're talking about a case study, you go through all the case study, and then it might link through to some drawings or explanation or something a bit further. You know, it's not going to be a really popular page, but some people will want all of that information. Think about all that white space. Now, white space, like I said before, it doesn't have to be white space, but space around the words. And start using those longer sentences and larger paragraphs further down the page, because they're people that will read, you know, like as you would have done 20 years ago, rather than these short paragraph readers. Yeah. So just a little example of that from the FSB website. So they've got their headline, summary lead, you know, they've only got 2 sentences in that paragraph. That's all one sentence. That's all one sentence. They've got little links to further content over here. You can read it on the screen. It's nicely spaced out. It's not all crammed together. The space between the lines, technically called the leading, is wide enough that the words aren't squashed in, you know, so they're allowing all of the words to breathe on the page. It makes it easier to read, especially if you've got a complicated subject you're talking about, and easier for people to therefore understand and make decisions from. Right, we're in a right canter through now. Okay, so quickly, content for SEO. So next week's webinar is all about attracting the right people to your website, and goes into lots more about search engine optimization at a very basic level. But think about keywords and phrases. So think about owning your niche. So it's good to be really specific. So I was thinking about Russell's cottage when I was pulling this together, and it's not just that he's got a cottage in Appleby. It might be that he puts our cottage, which sleeps 6, based in Appleby, Cumbria, will allow you to relax in luxury, enjoying the Eden Valley and walks from the door. So it's getting lots of words in there that people might be searching for. Again, it comes back down to understanding your target audience, but you know, people might want a cottage that sleeps 6. They might want a luxury cottage. They might want a cottage in the Eden Valley. They might want a cottage that's got lots of walks from the door, whatever. But think about actually being more than just cottage Appleby. Yeah. Your content also needs to keep people engaged. So the more time people spend on your website, the better. You want people to keep coming back to your website and keep people looking around. So think about linking pages. You know, if you're writing a blog piece, don't just have the blog. Think about also linking them to maybe other blog pieces or other parts of your website. The more pages people look at on your website, the better to a point.
Do you think a blog is important to do a blog?
It is from a fresh content point of view. So, but it might be It might be that you don't call it a blog, you know.
Well, so I could link my website to my Facebook page and my Instagram and all
Yeah,
that.
and then you'd get fresh content coming through.
So
So a blog is just a device for getting fresh content on your site.
yeah, so that would be doing that job.
It would, but it depends if you are answering the questions that people might have through those posts on your Facebook and Instagram. Are you on next week's webinar?
No, I didn't know about it. So.
Right, it might be worth booking on next week's, because we talk about actually answering questions that people might have and where to find those questions and how to create content that'll keep people coming back.
Okay.
But yes, linking your Instagram, definitely, you know, for beautiful imagery of your ceramics, will provide that function of fresh content coming on your website.
Yeah, cool.
Also think about if you've got an e-commerce site or you're taking bookings, are you using a payment gateway? Are you using your own booking or ordering software? How does that look? Does it look like it's part of the same website? Are you being transported off to a third party? You know, if you're going to a third party, can you put any branding on it so people have that level of confidence as they're going through? Think about what payment options you're prepared to take. So are you going to take card payments? Are you going to offer PayPal? Are you going to offer Apple Pay or Google Pay? You know, what will be a pain point for your customer? You know, if they've got to go find their card and punch in all the digits, is that going to be really annoying to them? Do they just want to pay on PayPal? So give some thought to the whole journey through the website from your customer's point of view. You know, it's obviously, it's easier and cheaper for you as a business not to use PayPal, but it's almost an expectation from a consumer that PayPal is there, you know, if you're buying something. God, this has been a right rattle through, but I think we're a bit over. Don't forget your privacy and cookie policy. So it needs to be compliant with the privacy and electronic communications regulations, and also be mindful of the general data protection regulations. And you can find out more information on that. I am not a data protection specialist. Please don't ask me any questions. Go to the Information Commissioner Office website. The link is there on the slide. They've got templates for all of the stuff that you need, and it'll tell you what you need to do. Right. Has anybody got any questions? I'm so sorry that has been so fast.
No, it's been really good, actually. I found it very useful, because I should have been writing my content this time last year, and with one thing and another, it still got put back even after a year of a pandemic. But I think what I'll write now will be very much mindful of what you've just been talking about here.
Yeah, if you're at that stage, I would definitely say, you know, if there's places available on next week's, then we cover off sort of on-page SEO, which is a lot about actually how to find those keywords and where should you be looking for content ideas and stuff like that. I
presume that the designer would know that stuff as well, though, wouldn't they?
Designers don't always get involved in writing copy. So
if I wrote stuff and then he said he would maybe suggest words I should be putting in there as well if I hadn't got them in, do you think? Or
not necessarily. That would be very dependent on the designer you were using. Some of them don't get involved in it at all.
Right, okay.
It's because it's your business and it's your customers that should be driving that information. So how is that designer going to know who your target audience is, what language they speak, that sort of stuff?
It's quite difficult when you talk about target audience, because I have an idea of people who usually buy from me, but I also want to attract other.
Yeah.
It's not so. It's like, and my work is changing, so I've got to think about those people who it might attract as well.
Yeah.
Because it's very much a very feminine product at the moment, and I'm, you know, there's other ways I can do something about it. But anyway, yeah.
Yeah. So with the target audience,
come in there.
Sorry.
It's Janet again. Just to come in there, I think that's where we can get the one-to-one support with you, Gwen, just to help you with that and just to widen it out. There is probably about 3 or 4 on the call that's having the one-to-one support as well. So we go into much more in depth there as well. So I've just dropped you an email. So follow the link, get registered, and we can get you an associate working directly with you.
Okay.
Any more questions? No more.
Hello.
Colin, you've been very quiet. Was that all right for you?
Yeah, that was fine for me. There's quite a lot on my website that needs adjusting to fit in with some of the things you were saying. We're a bit over heavy on the information and education side at the moment, but we're transitioning anyway because we're going from one market to another.
Okay.
And I've already been told that the website needs to up its game to do that. So this is a good time to think about all this.
Good.
I think we have Ruth on the end of the call who came in quite late.
Yeah, sorry, I had a real problem because I had another Zoom before this, and I do apologise. I finally joined. Thank you very much, Deborah. I know. I started a Shopify site recently for a food business, and also a Facebook page. And what I came up against, which I wasn't aware of, that you can't make any comments about like ginger is good for arthritis, etc. And so for medical and other issues, the Facebook company would not allow some of my statements to be included in my descriptions of some of my products, Winnie's Yorkshire Delights. And I just wonder how much that does apply across websites where we may know as business owners some of the issues that are relevant to our products, but which we may or may not be allowed to put in a website. So Facebook bans.
Yeah, you can't make claims about things that have been unscientifically proven. So you could say that, oh God, right? I think you can get away with saying that ginger may, you can word it so it may be beneficial. Probably not. You wouldn't. I don't think you get away with that on Facebook. But unless there is sort of clinical evidence, it's very difficult in that arena to make any claims because you fall then. What's the?
Well, yeah, I know what you're saying.
It's
to give an example. I had a dietitian from the Friarage made a written statement about my beetroot relish and its benefits. So, and she's got a registered code for her role. So could I include that in my information about the beetroot?
You could use it.
Have to follow Facebook. Sorry.
No, so you could on your website, you follow the Advertising Standards Authority Code of Practice. So it would have to be, legal, decent, honest, truthful, and then there will be specific regulations about claims for medical or ailments or whatever. If she's written a almost testimonial for you, I'd be tempted to have your general copy and then put whatever she's written and credit that to her.
Yeah, sure.
And then go back to your general copy. But it's quite difficult to do claims for anything medical without any proof.
Yeah, that's what I found. That's why I wondered whether on your own website you should follow the same rules, really.
Okay, can I just come in there? We're getting quite specific now. Just slightly overrunning, and I don't want to interrupt too much, but we can lift that question off and take it elsewhere, Ruth, if you just keep in contact with me on that other email address, if that's okay. I just don't want to have everybody else hanging on, really, or if there's any more questions.
That's fine, yeah.
No, that's fine. Is there any more? Thank you so much for your attendance, and those of you that are already on the programme, keep coming with us. Next week, I think Deborah's hinted that it is attracting more visitors to your website, which I think, because I'm no marketing person, is SEO development, that type of area. So we look forward to seeing you next week. And we do have masterclasses. I think some of you may have joined our masterclass sessions. Yeah, have a look at those as well. And Gwen, we'll talk afterwards. But yes, thank you very much for your attendance again. Oh, I'm supposed to launch the poll. I've completely forgot about the poll. Could you all just have a quick run through and answer those questions? Gosh, I was so engrossed in listening to the answers that I absolutely forgot about the poll. This is just to give us an overview of whether we're hitting the right targets, questions, topics, and whether they're useful for businesses. So if you could just, I think there's about 4 questions. If you could just run through those, that would be absolutely brilliant. And I'm so sorry, I'm going to, having shortened it out and said, I'll get you off the call, I'm now asking you to stay on the call. There's so much to do in this technology world when you sat fiddling at the background. But thank you very much for that. And thank you, Deborah, for allowing us to overrun slightly of your time.
That's fine.
Thank you very much. That has been really good.
No, thanks for taking part, everyone. It's always better when you kind of get a bit of interaction going.
Great.
There's a lot to whiz through on this one. Janet will share the slides with you.
Yes, share the slides and share the recording. The recording will go up on our website at the end of this. So thank you very much. If you've completed the poll, please leave the meeting. You don't have to stay till the very end, but we look forward to seeing you next week.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Cheers.
Bye.